It's T+1 to the midterm elections, and I've got the path forward related to the use of federal judges in order to try to restrain Donald Trump's worst instincts, his worst nightmare policies, and tie him up in knots, much the way the Republicans in MAGA did to Joe Biden's policy. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the Legal AF YouTube channel. There's a reason we built this pro-democracy channel. It's for moments just like this to continue to put shoulder to shoulder and link our arms as a community and talk about the resistance, the opposition. We're not in exile. We're in opposition, and it starts right now. I'll give you the legal part of it all. Take a moment, hit the subscribe button, and get us as big as possible so your voice is heard. Now look, federal judges, many of which were appointed by Biden, by Obama, even by Clinton, are on the bench. They reside in places like New York and Massachusetts and in Connecticut, in California, and in other places. They have appellate courts that are liberal or at least center-left, like the Second Circuit over New York, the First Circuit over places like Rhode Island and Massachusetts, the Third Circuit over places like New Jersey, the Ninth Circuit over places like California. And what we have to do, and federal judges, this should be a wake-up call for those that were appointed by Democratic presidents. They're going to have to get their hands dirty. They're going to have to stop acting like they're neutral umpires in which making rulings that help America and unlock the cage in which democracy has been placed as of yesterday. They're going to have to stop. Oh, that's beneath us. Oh, I'm an umpire calling balls and strikes. No, you're not. You're a player in the game. And the game is called freeing our democracy and supporting women's rights, civil rights, voting rights, rights for immigration and immigrants, and all of that. Just as the Republicans in MAGA went after judges, Trump judges, and targeted lawsuits for them in Amarillo, Texas, and in Louisiana, and in parts of Georgia or Florida, we got to do the same thing. We got states, we got judges, we got circuits. So the three-step dance that we saw MAGA do so successfully to tie up the Biden administration executive orders and policies, whether it was around reproductive rights or whether around women's rights or whether it was around voting rights or student loans, we got to do the same thing. Their three-step process, boom, one, file in front of a Trump-appointed judge, preferably in a district that only has one or two judges. Have that Trump judge rule their way. Take it up to a circuit court that favors them, like the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Right? Take it from the Fifth Circuit or the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals down in Florida and Atlanta. Then when you get a ruling there one way or the other, take it to the United States Supreme Court. We have our own method. We have our own way in. And every policy and every executive order and every attempted law that Donald Trump and the MAGA Congress try to pass, we have to be not just a thorn in their side, we got to pull the emergency brake and file suits. And you need another part of this equation. We need plaintiffs to sue on behalf of the American people showing special injury. And that's where the Democratic National Committee comes in, the DNC, other public interest groups, and other types of plaintiffs. We need a unified strategy centered around lawyers, law firms, moderate and progressive judges, and circuits. And then we do the exact same thing. We don't like his executive order related to immigration, we file a lawsuit. We don't like his attempt to screw around and deny health care to children or others in America who are uninsured, and Obamacare, we file a lawsuit. We don't like his attempt to separate families or send the dreamers out of this country or put children in cages, we file a lawsuit. Right? We don't like his health care policy being administered by RFK Jr. of all people. We file a lawsuit. His attempts to make permanent certain changes that MAGA want, in terms of funding church and church activities with public dollars, file a lawsuit. Now, these will all eventually make their way, I agree, to the United States Supreme Court. That's our next step. That's the next step in the process. Pressuring and pressurizing the United States Supreme Court. That's where public interest groups and research groups and investigative reporting groups like ProPublica, right? Like Court Accountability Action right here on the Midas Touch and Legal AF channels. They then shine a light on it, and then we pass the ball. This is like rugby. As soon as we're done with our end, we throw it ahead into Congress. And in Congress, then you have the opposition party acting like an opposition party, obstructing everything that doesn't fit with the values and ideals of democracy. You oppose it. You filibuster it. You use your procedural rules and other rules led by Hakeem Jeffries. If they don't have a parliamentarian expert on rules, get one, right? And Chuck Schumer and the next guard, right? I know Nancy Pelosi's a great strategist. Let's get some other people in there who are in their 30s and 40s who know what they're doing, right? And that's one of the last steps. So at every branch, except for obviously the executive branch, we attack the executive branch, which is Donald Trump led, by filing lawsuits and getting these things into friendly courts and friendly circuits and pressurizing the United States Supreme Court. We pressure them. Then in the House and in the Senate, in the minority position, we open up investigations about everything. Everything that's legitimate and reasonable about policies that we think are anti-democratic and anti-democracy in general and the rule of law. That is the game plan. It is led by, first and foremost, what I led off this hot take with. Federal judges need to grow some brass ones. I'm sorry. It's time to put the cajones on the table and start acting like the others around you. Because if you don't, the Trump judges certainly know how to do it. Judge Kaczmarek in Amarillo, Texas, knows how to take away a woman's right to choose. Judge Aileen Cannon down in Florida, another Trumper, she knows how to throw out a criminal conviction when she sees one against Donald Trump, right? Judge Ho and Judge Oldham on the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals know how to support nationwide injunctions from Texas against civil liberties, voting rights, and women's rights. And we have judges too. And they've got to start acting like that democracy, the rule of law is on the line, and they got to do something about it. As I said earlier, stop being umpires. They got to be in the game. This is a participatory democracy. It's a contact sport. You can't do it from your couch. You can't do it from your podcast studio or your office. You got to go do it with action. And that's what the thematic moving forward for Legal AF is going to be. Action. In resistance, in an opposition, not an exile. Not an exile where we go in some think tank or institute. Oh, I wonder what we do next. Oh, I wonder what happened. Forget that. That's over. As I said, we're T+1 day closer to the midterm elections than we were yesterday. And that's what we have to approach. And in the meantime, we need to rein in Donald Trump's potential reign of terror. We have to rein that in through the use of strategic lawsuits being prosecuted by lawyers and law firms and public interest groups and the party, and aim them, target them at judges from up and down, everything that was blue basically on the map yesterday. It was easy to see, right? From Maine down to Delaware, blue on the coast, California, and all of the circuit courts would go with it. File your case in New York. File all your cases in New York. Get up to the Second Circuit. File cases in California. Get up to the Ninth Circuit. File cases in New Jersey. Get up to the Third Circuit. File cases in the District of Columbia or around it. Get to the D.C. Circuit. If it's a federal matter, aim for the Federal Circuit. They are still moderate or controlled by Democratic. Avoid the Fifth Circuit, obviously. The 11th Circuit, obviously. The 7th Circuit, obviously. Avoid all of that. So here is the plan. This is the plan with the energy behind it, right? And we're going to follow it, and we're going to push for it, and we're going to bring on people onto this network to talk about it, but more importantly, to do something about it. Court accountability action. Take action. You're a collaborator here. Do something. It's great to sit around and talk about it. It's great to sit around and do a think tank or a tabletop experiment about it. But it's time to start drafting up the lawsuits. We know what his first days in office are going to look like. Just read Project 2025. Right now, as I'm doing this hot take, there should be a dozen lawsuits already drafted, and sitting on hard drives for Democratic causes against each of the elements of Project 2025. Because we know they're coming. The elimination of the Department of Education, right? The further elimination of the wall between church and state, taxpayer dollars being used for religious education and religious causes. The further degradation of women in this country, taking away the right to vote, the elimination of the Voting Rights Act. Right? That is on their agenda. That's on their shopping list. The Voting Rights Act passed during Lyndon Johnson's time, already neutered, emasculated, watered down by Justice Roberts in the Supreme Court, MAGA. It's on life support. So what can we do about it? We bring suits against it. Congress can try to pass these things, and if they try, we filibuster. We stand in opposition. And then when the midterms come, we punish them and we throw the bastards out. Right? And we have recent history. The last time a president got both houses, let's say, was Obama. Did a lot, got Obamacare done. Then he got crushed at the midterms. We got to crush MAGA at the midterms. We got to have the right candidates running for the right seats in the right places, credible candidates, ones that are attractive to the American voter, that reflect the values of their particular district and of our party. Work on recruiting now. That's the other thing. One thing MAGA is good at is long-term strategy and planning. They're like the Soviets, the old Soviet Union. They're on the 20-year plan. We're on the one-day plan. We got to get long-term, long view, long time horizon, and start it now. Get those lawsuits drafted, figure out which judges analytically are the ones that we're supposed to put the cases in front of, and the rest. I'm going to follow it. I'm going to report on it. You're already here. Take a moment, hit the free subscribe button, and you'll learn more on an hourly and daily basis from me and all the other collaborators here on Legal AF. We're not going anywhere. This is a community that we built with our bare hands and your help. We've linked arms. This is the time to stand together, not to run and hide. Not to act. Yes, it was a loss. I'm not trying to minimize it. I don't blow smoke or sunshine, but there is a path forward. From every wildfire, flowers blossom by the next season. We got to start planting flowers right now. I'm Michael Popok. I co-anchor and co-founded a show called Legal AF. We decided to take it over here as well with a new channel called Legal AF. If you need to tell somebody about it, tell them to put in @LegalAFMTN. So until my next contribution, I'm Michael Popok, and I am reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe @LegalAFMTN. That's @LegalAFMTN.